Colombo, General Manager of Ad Tech and Business Development at Publitalia Mediaset Group, to the Connected TV Initiative. We're delighted to have you here.
Thank you, John. Hello,
so,
everyone.
Paola, let's start by talking a bit about the work that you're doing with HBB TV and how you're using HBB TV to do addressable advertising in Italy on linear and VOD. What are you learning about HBB TV as a technical solution for addressable advertising?
So we have launched on HBB TV, and actually the previous standard that we had in Italy, MHP, 2-3 years ago now, to experiment, this new environment, hybrid environment, and we're using it in several ways. So HBB TV is supporting an application on our linear channel that allows us to deliver graphic creatives into the content, and so that was a display addressable TV format that we launched, which is also interactive, and that opened the way to addressability. Then we added an app, a full app, where you can restart content, catch up TV, watch clips, and there we introduced video on-demand content via HBB TV. And lately, say beginning of 2020, we started doing dynamic ad insertion, which means that while you're watching our linear channel into the break, we can replace the spot. So we overlay a spot coming from broadband onto a broadcast one. So we've introduced addressability on linear TV. So it's been quite an interesting journey, because what we've found out that so far HBB TV has been interpreted in different ways by different manufacturers. So it is a standard, but I think in the rollout of the standard there needs to be a bit more rigor in the way it's done. So I know the Associate HBB TV forum is working a lot to make sure everybody's complying in the same way and it's interpreted in the same way. And then, specifically, the new HBB standard doesn't include specification and requirements for targeted advertising. So that's something, an extra layer that is being added, but needs a bit more of work and negotiation with the manufacturers.
So how have advertisers and agencies responded to these new interactive addressable formats? What do they like and what do they like less?
There were, so about the graphic and the interactive ones, they were a bit suspicious at the beginning. And I'll be honest, I was a bit suspicious too. So we ran a lot of internal tests. And even for the first campaign, we did a lot of research, from neuromarketing researches to interviews to the audience to understand whether it was well accepted. And actually we found out that it's very impactful. The top of mind and awareness receive a lot of benefit from this kind of format. And then they have a wide reach, because anyone on a linear channel that has a connected TV that supports HBB TV can be reached. So you can have immediately scale on addressability. So that was extremely powerful. And also I have to say, interactivity is quite high. If you compare it to digital, where maybe you have your mobile in the hand, and here you have to catch up a remote and find it first of all, and then interact with the remote. I think the interaction rates are higher than most of digital formats. So it's a very powerful tool. And then they liked also, it's also like an easier barrier for non-TV advertiser, because creating a video spot is kind of expensive, and it's a kind of barrier at the entrance. Display is much easier to create. And so that opened the door to a lot of small, medium businesses.
And just to give it a sense, what's the reach of these formats? How many households can an advertiser reach with these different formats in Italy?
So we are now talking about 7 million households out of about 24 million in Italy. So it's been growing really, really fast. So 2 years ago, it was 3 million. So we went to 5 last December. This December is going to be 7 million. And we expect it to grow a lot more, because we're going to have the switch off in Italy. So most TV sets are going to be renewed in households, and the new ones are all going to be HBB TV compliant. So we will see this to grow rapidly.
And that has to be one of the most interesting things about connected TV, is just the speed with which the platforms scale, just because of TV set sales in different markets. Now, Paola, you mentioned the new HBB TV targeted advertising standard. And obviously that standard is slightly different because it requires some sort of commercial agreement between the broadcasters and the TV manufacturers. What do you think those commercial agreements will look like? Have discussions begun yet?
It's a very confidential ground, so there are some informal discussions, of course, and it's a bit of a strange space because you're setting now a standard that's going to stay in this industry for a long time, and on one side we understand the position of the manufacturers, on the other we have to be mindful of how we set up the product, because if you look at what happened in digital, well, then you have what is called the ad tech tax, all these technologies as adding up and disintermediating you from the final advertiser. We have to make sure all of this doesn't exist in linear TV now, so we have to make sure that what we add into the chain is going to add value and proportionally have a cost. And so we have to negotiate around that. There is also some level of uncertainty because everything is based on forecasts of sellouts of TV sets and how penetration are they going to be changed. So I think it's like an entrepreneurial risk from both sides. We have to invest to create the ecosystem. Manufacturers have to invest to open this new business, and we'll see where it goes.
Broadly speaking, you're positive about development?
I am always positive. No, but I think we'll find a way. And then when it comes to commercial agreements, I always think there's a way to find an agreement. So
summing up, Paola, Mediaset is one of the most advanced broadcasters in terms of what you've been doing with connected TV advertising. What would you advise your peers across Europe's broadcasting industry to do? What do you think you've learned about how they should proceed to address the connected TV opportunity?
It's a kind of a parallel way. So on one side, when you go to market, you have to keep it simple. It doesn't need to be over constructed, over complicated. Simple is beautiful, and advertisers just love it because they cannot, make TV advertising addressable and very, very flexible and measurable. But on the other side, to keep experimenting, what we learned a lot this year, because even if the volume weren't huge for doing refined data targeting, we did it anyway. And, we are learning how to do it, how to do, for example, attribution on TV campaigns into physical stores. There are very small numbers, but we are learning. And then the numbers are going to naturally grow because of the change in TV sets. And then you will grow with the flow. So
simplicity, scale, and test and learn, I guess. Yeah. Paola, thank you so much for sharing some of your thoughts. We really welcome your input to the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.